Oh, him? Yeah, I know him. It's going to take a while. It happened years ago. Did you know there are three kinds of aces? Those who seek strength, those who live for pride, and those who can read the tide of battle. Those are the three. And him? He was a true ace. Oh, him? Yeah, I know him. It's going to take a while. It happened years ago. Did you know there are three kinds of aces? Those who seek strength, those who live for pride, and those who can read the tide of battle. Those are the three. And him? He was a true ace.
He was a fighter pilot they called Solo Wing Pixie. He was a colleague of the man I seek. 10 years ago, there was a war that engulfed the world. The Belkan War. And in that war was a pilot who trailed across the sky and disappeared from history. He was a lone mercenary who inspired both fear and admiration. He is the man I seek. And so, with the words of Solo Wing, the curtain rises.
It was a cold and snowy day.
The Belkan War is shrouded in mystery. But now, a decade after the peace accords, a portion of the records was finally released. I quickly got a hold of it. Wanting more details, I acquired information from unknown sources. There was a reason for my obsession. The roots of the war lie in the Belkan Federal Law Review that took place in 1988. Belka, suffering from economic strife, permitted its eastern territory to secede, and the Republic of Ustio was born. But Belka's economic troubles did not subside. Meanwhile, taking advantage of the situation, the world superpower Osea continued to flourish. Amidst the economic panic, an extreme right-wing party took power within Belka, aiming to restore strength and stability to the nation. And on March 25th, 1995, with the discovery of natural resources in Ustio, Belka began to invade its neighbors. It was the beginning of the Belkan War. Unprepared, each country fell quickly before the might of the legendary Belkan Air Force. In just a few days, they occupied all territories except for the mountain range. In response, the occupied Ustio government military placed all their hopes on a joint operation between Osea and the foreign mercenary forces. This, of course, can be found in any history book. But I noticed a strange similarity in the materials I gathered. There were several accounts about a mercenary, all followed by the code word, demon. But most of the information was incomplete. Still, I was intrigued. I decided to pursue the history of the Belkan War through this mercenary. I was certain I would find something there. Would it be the hidden truth behind the war, or just another battlefield legend? I wasn't able to meet the mercenary himself. Actually, it's questionable if he ever did exist. But thanks to some old friends in the military, I was able to track down several individuals who knew him. Soloing is one such man. The true nature of the war begins from this point forward. Accounts vary depending on the article and source. Everyone is a hero and a villain, and no one knows who is the victim and who is the aggressor. And what is peace? All questions commonly asked about any war in history. As the battlegrounds move to Belka, he is also thrust into the middle of this war. This is also where my interests shift from the war to him. My pulse raced at the astounding accomplishments of the mercenary known as Demon Lord. I forgot about my job and read everything I had on hand. Around the time Demon Lord received his nickname, South Belka showed signs of weariness regarding the war. Because the region was set up as a defense line to protect the birthplace of Belka in the north, the people's dissatisfaction had reached a climax. The cities declared themselves demilitarized and peacefully surrendered to the Allied forces. Unable to establish a defensive position, the Belkan army kept retreating to the north. The end of the war was fast approaching. I was given an opportunity to interview the former aces of the Belkan Air Force. Back then, they were the masters of the sky, and they had also known him. So I crossed the border to follow his trail. I wanted to capture the war and the Demon Lord from their point of view, to capture the voices of those who were there. Rot Team Commander, former member of the Belkan Air Force, 2nd Air Division, 52nd Tactical Fighter Squadron, Detlef Fleischer, also known as the Red Swallow. With his skill and demeanor, he was practically a poster boy for the armed forces. Today, he is a professor of history at the University of Dinsmark.
Back then, I was bursting with pride. I wanted to lead us to victory, for Belka's honor. Staying where it was nice and warm wouldn't accomplish anything. My flight's mission was to maintain air superiority in Area B7R, an essential area that we couldn't allow to be violated. That day, when I heard the order from HQ for reinforcements, I became angry. The station force was in chaos because of just 2 mercenaries. There was no way the mighty Belkan Air Force could lose to mere mercenaries. My pride was shot, and the round table was defiled. What went wrong? Whatever it may be, the fact remains I was forced to walk a different path in life than the one I had envisioned.
Gelb Team is number 2, former member of the Belkan Air Force, 5th Air Division, 23rd Tactical Fighter Squadron, Rainer Altman. He flew the skies of Directus during the capital's liberation, and he's still there to this day.
I met him above this very sky. I can still hear the sound of the missile alerts from that day. I received an order to fly to Directus on my way back from an intercept mission on the southern defense line. The order itself wasn't unusual. We kept being deployed from one mission to the next without receiving even the basic maintenance. But the situation was the same all around. We were late reaching the operational space. The station squadrons had already retreated, and warning bells were going off in the city. And the people were looking up to his plane, high above the sky. He pursued me relentlessly. As soon as I thought I'd shook him off, there he was again. The never-ending sound of the missile alerts put fear in my heart for the first time.
This man was head of the command group and was known as the Vulture. Schwartz Team Commander, Dominik Zubov, former member of the Belkan Air Force, 13th Night Fighter Air Division, 6th Tactical Fighter Squadron. He fled after the final battle in order to avoid prosecution for various war crimes. He is still on the run and being hunted as an escaped killer.
Sorry about the accommodations. Goes with the business. I'm not active during the day. Back then, I was a shadow assassin, an escapee killer. Given the order, I'd even shoot down my own comrades. I received an order to take down deserting craft on that day. It was a typical assignment. But something unexpected happened. My target was no new recruit, but a top ace of the Belkan Air Force.
And he just had to go and run straight into the chaos at the round table.
The man was sharp, just like the rumors. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was that the mercenary team of Solo Wing and him were there. Thanks to them, I lost my target. I figured the least I could do was take them down in return. Of course, that was where my luck ran out.
Every time I flew with him, his skill stood out. He was unstoppable. It didn't matter where the battlefield was. The man had complete trust in his own powers. He was born for battle. A demon lord who struck down all opposition. He paid no heed to the troubles of those who flew with him. Before long, everyone had taken notice of him. More and more would show up to watch him go off on sortie. Mercenaries or maintenance crew, it didn't matter. People wanted to burn his image to their memories. Hell, they weren't the only ones.
June 6th, 1995. I was still in school at the time, but I'll never forget the images I saw on the news that day. The Belkans set off 7 nuclear explosions on their own soil. Maybe their old militaristic leaders couldn't stand the idea of Allied forces invading their land, and declared to the world that the land to the north was the Holy Land of Belka. According to official records, more than 12,000 people died. It was a grand self-sacrifice that engulfed all. The only thing remaining was the desolate landscape. How did the people of Belka feel about what they saw? And what did he think of it when he looked down on it from the sky? June 20th, 1995. A treaty declaring a cessation of hostilities was signed in Lumen, a city on the border of South Belka and Osea. It was a one-sided treaty that heavily favored Osea. The borders of the affected countries that fluxed greatly over the past years finally settled down at the cost of many human lives. The battlefield shifted to the tables, and the politicians from all countries squabbled with each other over the rights to the underground natural resources, the initial cause of this war. 6 months passed without any developments. 6 months of void. I focused on this time period for the hidden truth laid there. And I learned that my pursuit of him was not a mistake. So this is the hidden truth about the war. And this is where his trail ends as well. The impact of the 7 nuclear detonations on the world's psyche was great. Those who witnessed the carnage went on to organize a global arms reduction. Perhaps they were admonishing themselves. Furthermore, the existence of V2 was concealed. The events that occurred after the war faded from people's memories, and these men were also sealed away from history. Maybe this was one path to achieve peace. And here the curtain falls on this story. However, that does not mean their own stories came to an end.
A nation is comprised of the individuals who live in its borders. It can only become a nation when it is supported by those individuals. But mercenaries who cross lines and allegiance for money have no country to protect. They only fight for their own power and fame. But if that was the case, then why did I lose to him? Maybe not having the burden of a nation allows you to fly faster.
I bailed out and landed here. The captain was gone. I've lived a comfortable life since then, and I probably have him to thank for that. They ring the bells here at dusk to honor the liberation of the capital. It signals peace, but to me, they are the sounds of death.
Is the man still alive? Though I guess it's hard for bad guys like us to die. The real heroes always manage to die first. But guys like him, Solo Wing, and me, we live the rest of our lives in hell. But then again, being alive is proof that we were good.
Marcela Vasquez, the Espada team's #2 and former member of the Sapan Air Force, 9th Air and Land Division, 11th Tactical Fighter Squadron. She is thought to be a survivor of the Coup d'etat squadron. She currently earns a living as a dancer.
If the Demon Lord hadn't appeared, our lives might have been different. For me, it wasn't about flying or ideals. Most of all, it was about him, my flight lead. Our mission was to escort the heavy command cruiser that was to act as transportation for the organization. And the Demon Lord appeared, as if to block our path. I will never forget his overwhelming power. One by one, my comrades were shot down, and then the mother bird we were supposed to protect. I returned alive from that battlefield, and I returned to this city where I grew up. I left the organization, too. I never went back to the sky again. There's no meaning there now that he's gone. He died in that fight. But I don't blame anyone. The regret and suffering that remained after that battle were also what he had given me. They're among the precious few things he left behind.
Anthony Palmer, former lieutenant of the Ocean Air Defense Force, 8th Air Division, 32nd Tactical Fighter Squadron. He's been missing for some time, along with Captain Bristow of the same unit, since the decisive Battle of Valdrike. Captain Bristow is rumored to be one of the founding members of A World with No Boundaries. Palmer's ties to the captain have led many to believe that he is a high-ranked individual within the group. He currently works for an insurance company based in Aurid, the capital city of Osea.
Demon Lord was right. Everything he touched fell apart. I thought I was watching magic. When I was in the military, they called me an ace too. I got medals for my actions on numerous battlefields. I never felt fear toward an opponent. The same went for my ideals. I wasn't afraid to take on even an entire country. But when I was fighting him, something felt different. At first, I didn't know what it was. It wasn't until I noticed my hands shaking on the flight stick that I realized. It was fear. It's embarrassing, but once I felt that, I couldn't fly anymore. I felt guilt toward my companions at the time. There's always a war somewhere, and I'm sure he's on some battlefield somewhere fighting even now. He'll always have a place to live.
Larry Falk, also known as Solo Wing Pixie. Galm Teams Number 2, and member of the Ustio Air Force, 6th Air Division, 66th Air Force Unit. That's right. This man was his buddy, and his enemy.
I should have died that day, but I didn't. I dragged my wounded body and reached ground zero of the nuclear detonations. A barren, empty land. I felt an unbearable sadness when I witnessed that landscape. There were still people living there. They were the ones that saved me. It may be true that the world has no need of borders, but would getting rid of them really change anything? The world won't change for the better unless we trust people. Trust is vital in a peaceful world, but that will never happen. I'm still on the battlefield. Right now I'm near a border. I want to see for myself what borders really mean, and what their volition really is. I may not find what I'm looking for, but I still want to try. Anyway, that's what I've come to believe, and I think that's enough. Will he see this video? If you do meet him, give him a message for me. Yo, buddy. Still alive? And thanks, friend. See you again.
The Demon Lord of the Round Table, a warrior who soared through the Belkan War, inspiring both fear and admiration. His presence filled the skies for but a few short months before he disappeared. Apart from that, nothing is known about him. I was never able to find out what kind of a person he really was. But whenever they talked about him, they always had a slight smile on their faces. That, perhaps, may be my answer.
It's almost been 3 years since I did that Persona overview video, which introduced a lot of people to the early...
Okay, here we go. Ace Combat 3 Electrosphere is the first main Ace Combat game and the final Ace Combat game in order of the timeline. It takes place in 2040, 39 years after the Lighthouse War, which is the war fought in Ace Combat 7, which is the 8th Ace Combat game in the main series and the 17th Ace Combat game. Electrosphere takes place during the Intercorporate War, a war which is later revealed to have never happened due to taking place entirely within a simulation. Ace Combat 04 Shattered Skies, the second main Ace Combat game and the prequel to Ace Combat 3, takes place during the Continental War of 2003, which is seen through the eyes of a small child who befriends Yellow 13, the man who killed his parents, who is the main enemy of the player, Mobius 1, an elite ace pilot who single-handedly turns the tide of the war. The war ends in 2005 in the 17th Ace Combat game. Electrosphere takes place during the Intercorporate War, a war which is later revealed to have never happened due to taking place entirely within a simulation. Ace Combat 04, Shattered Skies, the second main Ace Combat game, and the prequel to Ace Combat 3, takes place during the Continental War of 2003, which is seen through the eyes of a small child who befriends Yellow 13, the man who killed his parents, who is the main enemy of the player, Mobius 1, an elite ace pilot who single-handedly turns the tide of the war. The war ends in 2005 after an ISAF victory against a nation known as Erusia on the continent of Eugea, not the Federation of Eugea, which is actually also known as Central Eugea, which is closely allied with Osea, which goes to war with Erusia over a giant elevator in 2019. Ace Combat 05, the Unsung War, is set during the Cold War, which turns hot when a shadow organization known as the Grey Men, consisting of veterans from the Belkan War of Ace Combat 0, the sequel to Ace Combat 05, which is also a prequel and is the 6th Ace Combat game, in which a nation called Belka becomes fascist and promptly declares war on everyone, loses, then nukes itself 7 times. This is why the Grey Men managed to get the Union of Yuktobania to go to war with Osea. Both Osea and Yuktobania win this war at the same time after defeating the Grey Men, who also win because both militaries are severely weakened, meaning that everyone lost, a decisive victory for both sides. In Ace Combat 0, the Belkan War, the prequel to Ace Combat 5, the 6th Ace Combat game, and the first in order of the timeline, which was released before Ace Combat 6, the 9th installment of the series and the 4th game in order of the timeline, which is the 7th Ace Combat game. You play as a legendary pilot known as Cypher, also known as Demon Lord, and is told from the perspective of a documentary made by a man named Brett Thompson. The documentary, produced in 2005, after the Continental War from Ace Combat 04, sees Brett talking to old pilots you shot down and defeat in the game, as well as your old wingman Pixie, who is also known as Larry Folk, who is an anarchist, your best friend, the final boss, and Seth from Goosebumps. After Belka destroys itself in a series of self-genocidal thermonuclear annihilation attacks, the game ends with Ustio, Osea, Sapin, and other countries winning, and the Demon Lord, aka you, aka Buddy, aka Cypher, portrayed either as a war criminal or a really cool guy, depending on how you've played. Later, due to the real-life Ulysses asteroid leaving the orbit of Jupiter several million years before the dawn of man, Osea builds a bunch of giant railguns to blow up the fragments of said asteroid because it, also known as 1994 XF-04, aka Ulysses, has a hollow interior and is also on a collision course with the Earth. In 1999, this happens, and Ulysses breaks up into large fragments in low Earth orbit and is subsequently shot out of the sky by these giant railguns in an event known as Planetfall, where no planets fell, just the kingdom of Erusia, which collapsed due to a refugee crisis. This, of course, happens after the events of Air Combat, the first Ace Combat game, which has you fighting pirates in 1995. Ace Combat 6, Fires of Liberation, the 7th main installment of the series and the 9th Ace Combat game, takes place in 2016, over 17 years after the events of Ace Combat 0, the first game in the timeline, and the 6th Ace Combat game in the main series, which was the 8th installment in the series. I don't know what happens in Ace Combat 6 because I didn't play it. Ace Combat 7, the 8th installment in the main series, the 17th Ace Combat game, the 5th game in the order of the timeline, takes place 39 years before Ace Combat 3, the first main Ace Combat game, and sees the 8th installment in the 6th Ace Combat game in the main series, which was the 8th installment in the series. I don't know what happens in Ace Combat 6 because I didn't play it. Ace Combat 7, the 8th installment in the main series, the 17th Ace Combat game, the 5th game in the order of the timeline, takes place 39 years before Ace Combat 3, the first main Ace Combat game, and sees the Federation of Osea fighting Erusia on the continent of Yuja, controlled by a corporation controlled by the dead spirit of Belka, which is run by combat drones. You play as Trigger, a war criminal who may or may not have killed the former president of Osea, and you fight Erusian drones and a man named Mihai, Dumitru, Margareta, Cornelio, Leopold, Blanca, Carol, Aeon, Ignatius, Raphael, Maria, Niketas, A. Shilaji over a giant space elevator built by Osea in Erusia on the continent of Yuja, just a few hundred kilometers away from the Federation of Central Yuja. Obviously, Osea wins, because they have giant railguns from that one asteroid incident in 1999, which they use against the enormous airborne AI-controlled aircraft carrier called the Arsenal Bird. Ace Combat 7 also has a separate DLC storyline told from the perspective of a journalist and his AI assistant about a man named Torres, a rogue ex-Erusian.
A coup d'etat broke out in the military corps' general area code NAP 2700. They saw an opportunity during a time when their leaders were away from the country on a diplomatic mission. After the forces occupied the center of administration, they seized control of important facilities in each district. They are expanding their influence while strengthening their fighting power. Their military capabilities include air and sea forces. It has also been confirmed that they are in possession of extra-powerful cruise missiles. To respond to the rebel forces, the military corps' headquarters made a decision to use the Special Tactical Fighter Squadron Scarface, which consists of you, my fellow pilots. We want you to go on this mission and suppress the coup d'etat immediately. You will receive all-out support from our military corps, full information regarding the rebels, full cooperation through our intelligence division, and military supplies. The situation is tense, and there is no time to waste. Take on this mission immediately. That is all. Interception of invasion unit. It's a rush sortie mission. We have received information that an enemy invasion unit is approaching our front base. It is a small unit with bombers as its main force. Take off immediately and shoot them down. Target B-52 bomber unit. Good luck. Pursuit of reconnaissance unit. Our forward base reports radar contact with an enemy unit in flight within the mountain region. Their formation indicates that it seems to be a reconnaissance unit sent to investigate our movements. We need you to take care of this dangerous situation. Target, enemy E-767 Early Vigilante plane unit. In addition to the Early Vigilante plane, the escorting fighters are poised to strike. Keep your back covered. Now resupplying. When completed, the enemy will develop an operation at sea with the carrier as their main force. We will make a surprise attack on the carrier and the supply facilities while the enemy resupply operation is in progress. Target, the enemy aircraft carrier and all supply facilities. on the front base. By analyzing the enemy's strike pattern, our intelligence division has successfully determined the location of the enemy's front base. The operations target this time is to attack this base and to halt the enemy's firepower in the front lines. Target: the enemy's front base. The enemy has commandeered an old castle in the hill country and is now using it as their fortress. Watch out for an attack by the enemy bombers and take extra precaution against anti-aircraft fire. Beginning with this operation, escort planes will be available to aid you on your mission should you require assistance. Think about each situation carefully and give strategic instructions to each plane before takeoff. Good We have obtained data regarding the enemy's offshore oil field facility from the wreck of a fuel tanker sunk at the time of attack. According to the data retrieved, the offshore oil field facility is large, composed of several oil field plants and refinery bases, and is considered to be an important facility for the enemy's fuel supply. Make an immediate sortie and destroy it. Target: the offshore oil field facility and refinery bases. A part of the oil field is heavily fortified to fend off our attacks. Try not to get caught in enemy fire. Beginning with this operation, escort planes will be available to aid you on your mission should you require assistance. Think about each situation carefully. Transport plane, reconnaissance discovered that an enemy base is being built in a deep ravine. Our enemy seems hard-pressed to construct a new base in a hurry after losing their forward base. This time our target is the ravine base. The problem is a network of anti-aircraft missile sites surrounding the ravine region, making it impossible to carry out a bombing mission from above. To attack the base, we have to enter the edge of the ravine by flying at a low altitude, and then make a hit and breakaway attack. This is the only way to attack this base. Target: the ravine base. The enemy's anti-aircraft missiles are highly accurate, and there will be no chance of survival if you fly directly over the ravine. Watch your altitude. Nighttime pursuit plane. Our successive attacks have been effective in pushing back the enemy's front line, and they are now beginning to retreat. Just a while ago, reconnaissance caught sight of what seemed to be a fleeing unit. Take off immediately and pin them down. Target: enemy E-767 early vigilante plane unit. This is our first nighttime takeoff. Unfortunately, the enemy is equipped with a jamming device, so we expect radar effectiveness to be reduced. Don't get taken by surprise, and be sure to watch your back. The attack on the ravine base. After studying it, we uncovered the existence of an enemy resource mine. The enemy seems to be distributing underground resources from this mine to each of their districts. Your mission is to attack the mine and tear up the network of supply lines. Target: the enemy mine and bridges. A complex mountain region surrounds the mine, and there seem to be anti-aircraft positions protecting the area. Watch out for enemy fire. A bomber unit is to attack the enemy shipbuilding facility after finding an opening when the enemy front unit retreats. We want you to escort the bomber unit for this operation. Target: the enemy fighter unit. As you know, this shipbuilding facility is an important strategic base for the enemy's carrier mobile fleet and supply ships. Escorting our bomber unit is your first priority, but try to sink as many enemy warships as possible. We wish you luck. Unit in flight was sent to us by a reconnaissance satellite. From its size, the image appears to be a bomber unit in a moving operation. We have also discovered some unidentified aircraft not found in our data. No further details are known. We want you to pursue and eliminate the targets. Target: the enemy bomber unit. At high altitudes, our plane stalls easily. Treat her gently and watch your airspeed. Interrupt the enemy's supply operation. We have received information that the enemy supply plane unit is approaching their garrison. As the enemy's giant submarine managed to escape just before our attack on their headquarters. Take off immediately and track down this submarine. Target: the enemy's giant submarine. Good luck, and blow this sucker out of the water. Attack on the enemy's headquarters fortress. This is an unexpected matter. As soon as we had confirmed the destruction of the enemy's headquarters, we identified the existence of a secondary headquarters fortress. This fortress seems to be the enemy's last defense. Attack the enemy's headquarters and wipe out the coup d'etat. Target: the enemy's headquarters fortress. This is the chance we've been waiting for. Go out there.
Meet Nest Aware, a subscription service that works with all your Nest cameras, speakers, and displays.
The Heavies approach the next objective in America's island-hopping campaign towards Imperial Japan. Super fortresses and liberators drop thousands of tons of munitions, cratering the dark volcanic landscape. Their target, an island with black sand that one aviator comments looks like a burnt pork chop in the middle of the ocean, offers who impressed upon the general the importance of his task. Kuribayashi understands that he has been given a deadly mission, but he intends to inflict as many casualties on the Americans as possible. He has set about turning Iwo Jima into a fortress. American planners significantly underestimate Japanese strength on the island. Kuribayashi has 22,000 men, rather than the estimated 12,000. The defenders have tunneled into the island throughout the winter.
When you hear the word ambitious when it relates to video games, what do you think? Some of you may think back to the early to mid 2000s. One example from this time period could be Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. It was so ambitious with its modern day setting and addictive multiplayer that it went on to be considered a revolutionary title in not just the first person shooter genre, but gaming as a whole. A second example could be the early 2000s NASCAR games, specifically NASCAR Thunder 2002 through 2004. Just looking at the career mode alone, we went from just managing the car in Thunder 2002 to
is Raiko. One of Mortal Kombat 1's newest but old characters is Raiko. He made his debut in Mortal Kombat 4 as a stand-in ninja to replace Noob Saibot after the public complained there were too many ninjas in Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Apparently he was meant to look like Ed Boon, but I don't really see it. In the next game he featured in, Mortal Kombat Armageddon, they changed him to look like Shao Kahn, as he liked to pretend he was him when Shao Kahn was not around. His special moves are the assassin throwing stars, the vertical teleport, and a ridiculous looking flip kick, as well as Shao Kahn's shoulder barge. It'll be interesting to know how they will make his moveset, as Shao Kahn doesn't actually exist other than being General Shao in Mortal Kombat 1's universe.
Nearly every aspect of the team in Thunder 2004. The individual members of your crew, research and development for your car, more in-depth sponsorship management, all of that good stuff. Some of you may be thinking more along the lines of modern day. Star Wars Squadrons was ambitious because not only was it an EA-published title that wasn't a garbage pay-to-win mess, but it was also a Star Wars arcade flight action game that had great gameplay. Managing your starfighters' shields and weapons, choosing between the different classes of starfighters, defending allied ships and engaging enemy ships, it was all there. Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown is also ambitious for not only increasing the graphical quality a ton with the use of Unreal Engine 4, but I would argue that the big source of ambition and innovation is in its VR mode. Yeah, there may be only 3 missions in this mode, but seeing the fully detailed cockpits, watching as the enemy fighter jet you targeted bursts into pieces and flames when you shoot it down, and the general feeling of piloting a fighter jet in the Ace Combat universe, it is magical. Of course, ambition can be put in the wrong places, which is what makes ambition and innovation being put in the right places so special. One of the main instances in which ambition and innovation can be found is when a new video game franchise starts up. The first few entries can serve as the franchise finding its footing and honing in on what makes that franchise stand out from the crowd. Focusing back on the Ace Combat series, it began in 1995 with, well, Ace Combat. Also known as Air Combat outside of Japan, the name Ace Combat would be adopted worldwide for the series from Ace Combat 2 onward. Air Combat and Ace Combat 2 would prove to be the arcade flight action franchise establishing itself in the gaming market along with finding its footing. After the second entry, the team at Namco working on the series wanted the third entry to be the most ambitious and innovative entry yet. Air Combat was the series' first entry and thus plays more like a prototype when compared to the series today. Ace Combat 2 expanded upon Air Combat's gameplay and features, introducing many staples of the series known today such as fictional aircraft, extra enemy aces per mission, and making the super weapon / super fighter concept from the first game a mainstay. So far the series have been gradually innovating at a steady pace. The third entry in the series, however, is when the team went full throttle and applied the afterburner. They went so full throttle, in fact, that I would argue it's this game that really set the foundation for the future Ace Combat games to build upon. And beyond that, the game itself is jam-packed with tons of features, lore, and lots of things to take an in-depth look into. Which is why, instead of this being a review, this is instead a retrospective of Ace Combat 3 Electrosphere.
未明、ゼネラルグループの飛行部隊が緊張の続くメリトン地域上空で軍事演習を行いました。これは先にニューコムが発表したサンドバリー砂漠で行われるバイオプラントでの公開実験への牽制が目的とみられており、この行動に対しユーピオのクラークソン代表が今日正式にゼネラルリソースへの移管。
Power for Life, Newcom.
The 誰もが憧れるパイロットの名は広瀬玲奈。彼女は生まれた時からシルバーストーン病に侵され、日の光
部隊が緊張の続くメリトン地域上空で軍事演習を行いました。これは先にニューコムが発表したサンドバリー砂漠で行われるバイオプラントでの公開実験への牽制が目的とみられており、この行動に対しユーピオの
侵され、日の光の下では生きられないのです。しかし今の彼女には翼があります。あの時からシルバーストーン病に侵され、日の光の下では生きられないのです。しかし今の彼女には翼があります。ゼネラルリソースの開発した最新の技術によって新しい時代の新しい科学、 特にエレクトロスフィアによる世界で目覚ましい成果を上げたゼネラルリソースの研究者グループがニューコムの母体となったのはよく知られていることです。そして彼らが宇宙開発への着手を発表した2032年から事実上ゼネラルリソースの緊張状態が続いているのです。すでにエレクトロニクス、バイオテクノロジー、ナノテクノロジー、あらゆる科学分野でもニューコムの科学者たちはゼネラルリソースのそれを超えているとも噂され、長年にわたってその経済力で巨大な権力を誇示してきたゼネラルの時代が。
ええ、はい。お休みの日ですか？公園で散歩はできないんで、本を読んだり映画を見たり普通ですよ、全然。今こうしてパイロットになっていることがもう夢みたいな話ですから。ただ最近思うのは、体なんて人間にとって心の入れ物でしかないのなら、私には意味のないものだなって、いつも心で飛んでるんです。体には翼がないけど、心の翼が私に空をくれたから、このまま心ごと翼になってしまいたいって。
あ、いないのか。じゃあいいけど、あれだ。お前がどういうつもりか知らないけど、ユーピオで飛行機乗りでいたいんならパーク司令には逆らうなって。ま、クラークソン派の連中の言ってる平和的な解決ってやり方でこの世界が守れるんなら、最初からゼネラルにユーピオなんていらないんだし、どっちにしてもただの飛行機乗りには関係ないことだな。じゃあ次の任務で。あ、今度はしてくれよな。レナやフィーのマニューバーのコピーばっかはやめとけ。俺の後ろはお前しかいないんだから。
ニューコムからの公式発表によりますと、この攻撃はあくまでもゼネラルリソース側が行った違反行為への報復であるとのことです。この事態を受け、ユーピオのクラークソン代表は先ほど緊急会見を開き、治安維持部隊の現地への緊急派遣を発表。
ついに始まったわね。ニューコムの出方次第ではもうクラークソン代表の力ではどうしようもないことになるでしょう。ここで私たちユーピオの真価が問われるのは必死ね。そうそう、君前と違った動きしてたじゃない？いい感じだったよ。あ、どうも。これはあなたに出す最初のメールになります。この戦いが続くのなら、きっとこれからはあなたと一緒に飛ぶことが増えるのかもしれない。今日のような飛び方なら、見える敵をあなたが思うように叩けばいいと思う。それではまた。
ニューコムとユーピオ間の対話に対してゼネラルリソース側からの反発が混乱の火種となることを危惧する声も多いようですが。
はい、ユーピオのクラークソン代表のような指導者は前時代的な政治家タイプと言えるでしょう。ゼネラルリソースによる有事や統一以降はですよ、経済の力が政治や司法を駆逐したこの時代で彼の行動は私にとっては時代錯誤としか言いようがない。
それではニューコムとゼネラルリソースの戦闘はこれからも避けられないと？
ええ、ただ私が言いたいのは。
あ、すいません、ここで CM です。
あ、いた。伝えておくことがあります。本日付でユーピオの治安維持活動についての指揮全権がパーク司令に一任されました。これからはユーピオ特別航空部隊サーフのメンバーとして 常にレナと共同で行動することになります。まあ彼女のようなユーピオのスターと一緒なら中継も多くなるし、下手な失敗はできないってこと。
エキスポシティを発端にした今回の紛争は NUN 新国際連合所属のユーピオ特別航空部隊サーフを中心にした治安維持部隊の活躍によって沈静化に向かっている模様です。しかしゼネラルリソースとニューコムの対立自体は有事や全域への広がりを見せています。ユーピオのクラークソン代表が提唱したスナイダーズ会談の開催は両企業間での紛争を解決する糸口となるでしょう。次のニュースです。
この世界に生きる者で歴史に名を刻む働きを残すことのできるパイロットは少ない。彼らがパイロットとして活躍しうる肉体的なピークは若いうちだ。ただそのピークは人間としての精神的な熟練を迎えるのに比べてもあまりにも早すぎる。
いつの日か誰もが肉体の限界を感じるだろう。それは悪いことではない。ただその限界を超える精神力を持つ者はそれを口にする必要がないだけなんだ。
しかし彼は肉体的にも精神的にもピークを迎えたまま世に名を残そうとしている。彼の名はアビサル・ディジョン。ゼネラルリソースのエースの名を欲しいままに大空を舞う。
まだ帰ってないか。おかえり。パーク司令から聞いたわ。ゼネラルのエースと渡り合ったらしいじゃない。かなり悔しいけど君のこと認める。フライトレポートのデータを見ました。不思議なことだけどあなたの飛び方って最近少し私に似てる気がして。あなたはどこから来たの？
かつてゼネラルリソースが多国籍企業体として誕生した結果、国家という枠組みは崩れ去り、歴史は新しいフェーズを迎えることになりました。そしてこの巨大な海上移動都市メガフロートの姿は今やニューコムのシンボルであり、それは彼らの新しい力を我々に見せつけているかのようです。今各地で始まった紛争を事実上仕掛けているニューコムは何を求め何を望んでいるのでしょう。我々はこの紛争がやがて歴史をどのように変えるのかまだ知らされてはいません。ただどんな結果になるにせよ一つだけ言えるのは、両企業に挟まれた形のユーピオには現状の治安維持はできても歴史に新たな結果を残すことはできないであろうということでしょう。
聞いたが、今さっきフランカーと彼女のエンジンシステムがぶち壊れたらしい。しかもそれが整備不良のチェックやってた時のミスでだ。お前も整備には気を使った方がいい。まったくいくら最近出撃が増えたからってそりゃない話だろ。こんなことだからユーピオはハリコの虎だとか軍隊ごっことか言われるんだよ。この状態じゃレナのやつ当分出撃できないことになるだろうな。こんな時だからユーピックやってた時のミスで。聞いたが、今さっきフランカーと彼女のエンジンシステムがぶち壊れたらしい。しかもそれが整備不良のチェックやってた時のミスでだ。お前も整備には気を使った方がいい。まったくいくら最近出撃が増えたからってそりゃない話だろ。こんなことだからユーピオはハリコの虎だとか軍隊ごっことか言われるんだよ。この状態じゃレナのやつ当分出撃できないことになるだろうな。こんな時
割り込んでごめん。7 出撃命令です。いよいよニューコムの連中本気で歴史を変える気みたいね。タイミング悪いけどユーピオの大スターは欠席。私たちだけで何とかしましょう。じゃああとは上で。
ゼネラルリソースに
そのためにユーピオがあるんだもの。
このようにニューコムの先端技術は今までゼネラルリソースにとって苦手とされてきたバイオテクノロジー、ナノテクノロジーの実用化、世界規模でのエレクトロスフィア環境の整備、そして宇宙開発への積極的な着手によって確実な力を生み出していった。
このメールはサーフのメンバーにのみ送信されている。注意して聞いてほしい。昨日の協定は現時点で破棄された。我々の得た情報によると、すでにゼネラルは協定の隙を突き、ニューコムを一気に攻めるようだ。クラークソン代表が心血を注いだ協定をこのように無視した暴挙は、ユーピオとして見逃すわけにはいかない。そこでサーフの
来たのね。何人いるの？一人は黄色い頭の醜いガキでしょ。私は汚い年寄りとブサイクはタブなし。
その人を離せ！
誰に向かってクソ聞いてんだ！お前は。Are you a demon slayer? So you came. How many of you are there? I know one is that yellow-haired ugly little brat. And Onigari no ko? 来たのね。
の出番となる。今まで
ゼネラルの下請けみたいな仕事
の活躍に期待する。
まったく指令らしいやり口じゃないか。もともとユーピオはゼネラルの下請けみたいな仕事ばかりしてたくせに、そのくせニューコムにもいい顔はしておきたいんだってことだろ。なあ、本当の戦争屋はどこにいるのかってことを俺たちもっと考えた方がいいのかな。
こんなことって本当はあなたに言うべきじゃないのかもしれない。でも聞いてほしかったから。私今サーフがやっていることはどこかおかしいと思う。私たちが維持するべき治安はこんな表面的な戦いだけで解決なんてできない。もっとずっと大きな、まだ見えてはこない、うまく説明できないんだけど、誰か別の。いい、忘れて。
これが R ナンバー。
Kid, I be like, I would like 3 chicken wing with the fried rice. I be like, I would like 3 chicken wing with the fried rice. I be like, I would like 3 chicken wing with the fried rice. I be like, I would like 3 chicken wing with kid. I be like.
入れたのか。ニューコムも必死なのさ。停戦も終わったな。
命令を伝えます。不審な航路で索敵中のゼネラル偵察機を捕捉追跡します。今回は敵機少数での確認任務のため、私とあなただけでとのことです。あ、これは久しぶりに飛ぶ私のリハビリってことみたいです。なのでよろしくお願いします。リハビリに付き合ってくれてありがとう。あとでももしかしたら
Filed July 21st, 2032. Location General Resource Doe Development Facility. Sound data missing.
これから話すこととお願いは、聞いた後にあなたが賛成してくれても、もしも反対したとしても、何も尋ねないで、誰にも言わないで黙っていてほしいんです。それがとても都合のいい話なのは自分でも分かっています。でもそれでも他に頼める人も相談できる人もいないから、聞いてください。それは私にとって生きる意味と同じぐらい大切なもの。ナイトレーベン、それを探しに行きたいんです。前回の作戦で私たち2人が偶然発見して、あなたが破壊してしまった施設に関係があることです。今はそれだけしか言えません。でも一緒に来てほしい。もちろんこれは無断行動で規約違反。それを知った上ででも来てほしいんです。がどうしてなのか、実は私自身にもわからない。ただ私に似ているあなたなら分かってくれるって思えたから。ありがとう。今回の件、フライトレコーダーからあなたの行動を全て消去しておきました。だから忘れてください。それから報告書は私が提出しておきます。
さてさて、このメールが送信された全ての諸君に対し、ここで一つ断っておくことがある。この飛行船には殺傷能力の高い細菌兵器を満載しておいた。そう、今後我々の行動を邪魔しようとする輩にはいつでもとっておきのプレゼントをお届けする準備を行おうとしてこの方ないか。縛られた世界であがき無駄が増えす。
ここだけの話ってやつ、ここでしてもいいかな。私ここのところずっと悩んでることがあって。ねえ、聞いてもらうだけでいい？少し勝手に喋らせて。実は私にとってたった一人の肉親と言える姉のこと。両親を失ってからどんどん2人で会うことが少なくなっていったんだけど、最近になって連絡が来て、突然私にユーピをやめろって言い出して。そうそう、実は姉さん今ニューコムにいて、お互いがいつ殺し合うことになるかもしれない関係でいたくないって。確かにそれは私もそう。けど今はまだユーピをというかサーフを抜けてしまいたくもない。誰か来た。また連絡しますから。じゃあ。
目的に関しては暗号化して送っておいた作戦走行に従うよう。今回も些細なミスの許されない超法規的活動である。心してほしい。以上。
Do your best not to bore me. Now!
Let's go! Here we go! Yeah! Win! Now! Come on!
Put
on the pressure! Check this out.
Go!
I never miss a chance. Put on the pressure! You watching? This is it.
Ready? Fight!
Give it to him.
You let your guard down.
I never miss a chance. Go! This is it.
Now's my chance!
Go!
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 Check this out. It's showtime! This is it.
Go!
Stream! Now!
I guess we couldn't cut it.
A loss is a loss.
紛争解決といった手段を取る可能性が高くなるでしょ
う。よ、いたんだ。フランカーはどう？ニュース見たろ。あれ事故だったな。それで、あれから俺考えたんだ。あの時何が起こったのか。どうして俺とお前だけであの任務についたのか。なぜレナがあんな後についたのか。誰がいて誰がいなくなったのか。誰にとってあれは必要だったのか。俺たち利用されたんだ。フランスの代表をやるためマーク司令は。
I'll be coming along with you.
最前線である宇宙。そこには人類が空へ
Do your best not to bore me.
その無事を求めた技術の結晶が漂う。
Now!
Let's go!
Here we go! Yeah!
Style! Come on! Let's go!
Put on the pressure! You watching?
Go!
Strong your step!
Put on the pressure! Check this out.
It's my turn now.
Go! Check this out.
I like your style. Let's go!
Now! There!
Go! Give it to him!
Now's my chance.
Dream!
Go! You watching?
There!
戻るべき場所を失いたくないのならな。
Strut your stuff.
Go! Give it to him!
You let your guard down.
Now's my chance.
Now's my chance!
Quit! Keep it up!
Ready? Fight!
There's still a lot
It's my turn now.
Take that!
Do your best. Keep it up.
Now's my chance!
Quit. Keep it up.
Take that!
Quit.
Do it!
Strut your stuff. To point out where I went wrong, fight.
Go!
科学版ニューコムとして正式にゼネラルから離れることになると暗い過去を清算し始めた。そしてあんたはゼネラルを裏切った主犯として
What can we learn from this?
あんたの目標まで前時代のルールをひねり尽くす革命に参加してみる気はないか。
That was a blast! Bravo, everybody!
ビジョン、かつてゼネラルに殺されたこともある。
This just gave me an idea for a new song.
ユージアってもの自体が危ないらしいってニュースで言ってた。パークのやつ、ユーピオどころか国が消えたらどうする気なんだろうな。それでも俺は最後まで認めてるつもりだ。そして一体誰が何のためにこんなことを始めたのか知る。それが自分にとって現時点でサーフィンを持つ意味だと思う。
最近の命令って治安の維持としては変じゃない？こんな状況で
それって絶対おかしい。近いうちに必ず何かあるはず。あの男、パーク司令には気をつけた方がいい。いつも何かあるとあなたに助けられて、今度もあのままガイドに期待をやられたら、きっと心が機械になるみたいに耐えられなかったと思う。でも子供の頃、私機械になりたかった。どんな病気もすぐさえ修理してしまえる、そんな体になりたかった。私は生まれた時から一度も太陽の光を浴びたことがない。そんな病気はまだほんの子供だった私に生きる意味を失わせるには十分だった。近所の公園へ出るのにまるで宇宙旅行にでも出かけるような姿にならなければならなかった。やがて外の世界から隔離されたように、自分自身によって心まで閉ざしてしまうまで、そう長い時間はかからなかった。そんな時、あの人に出会った。エレクトロスフィアの持つ力とその可能性を教えてくれた。その出会い、私を普通の人間として扱ってくれた最初の人のことを、体こそ触れ合うことはできないけれど、だからこそ心はスフィアの向こう、誰よりも分かり合っているつもりだった。あの人のためだったら何でもできた。転んでもいいと思う。どうなってもよかった。たったそれだけのことが彼の持っている翼を私の手にできるのに。
Welcome!
それは間違いない。となり得た私の体だった。また私は私自身の体に裏切られ、その時心に決めていた。人間としての心まで手に入れたこの翼だけは絶対に離さない。だけど
邪魔者は消えた。
Here we go! Come on! Here we go! Let's go! Yo! Champ!
Here I come! Later!
Now!
そしてゼネラルとニューコムの焼け野原に立つ
How's this? Now's my chance!
Leave it to me!
Now's my chance!
Now!
Leave it to me! How's this? Here we come!
There!
Leave it to me! Shock 'em!
Can't stop this heat! Let's go! We'll do better next time!
What can we learn from this?
There! Did you point out where I went wrong? Were we too strong?
Yeah, no doubt. gonna get even stronger and more rock. Do your best!
may have underestimated our own potential. I may have underestimated our own potential. This is quite exciting. I'm more than happy to be of assistance.
I feel a surge of power. I feel a surge of power. I doubt I'll get bored being with you. I've already seen the future that lies beyond.
I feel the winds of victory! Ready! Here we come! Here we come! Focus!
Go!
Now!
Now! Here I come!
You let your guard down. Watch this. I'll handle this.
Leave it to me!
You let your guard down.
Go!
Focus your mind.
Leave it to me! Do your best!
Behold my power. Go!
Here I come!
Off you go!
Dream! Now! Focus your mind. Watch this. hold my power. This'll be a hole in one. I'm on the fairway.
Off you go!
Go! I'll handle this. Let's tee off. Ready.
Off you go!
Focus your mind. A chance for victory.
Off you go!
Dream! Now! Didn't foresee this disappointment.
Off you go!
There! Watch this.
Do your best!
Go! Watch this.
How could this happen?
There! I'm on the fairway. There! Go! There! There's still a lot we have to learn.
Let's go! Come on!
Focus.
Go!
Now!
Here it comes!
You let your guard down.
Make me proud!
I'll handle this.
Do your best!
You let your guard down.
I got this!
Behold my power.
Up you go! Make me proud!
I'll handle this.
Do your best!
Go! Behold my power.
Do your best!
Dream!
Make me proud!
Bend them to your will.
Do your best!
Prepare yourself! Take this!
Focus your mind. Go!
Do your best!
Come on!
I didn't foresee this disappointment. Go!
All out!
Go!
All out! Make me proud!
Go!
What happened? How could this happen?
There!
Go!
There's still a lot we have to learn.
Alright, let's do this! Here I come! Here we go! Let's go! I've got this!
Watch this!
got this.
You know what to do.
How could this happen? Fight! For science! Unleash your power! What can we learn from this?
You know what to do.
To point out where I went wrong?
It's over.
I feel a surge of power.